Peace, peace. Good day. It's your girl Morgan Renee coming to you all for another live reading of Feeding the Soul because that's my business. Finding our way to joy, love, and freedom by Tabitha Brown. We are in chapter 10. Yesterday's chapter was real good. Now is the time to forgive. Sis went in. She gave us a good word. She let us know that we need to release things that are no longer serving us, make amends with those that may have wronged us. Don't mean we got to fool with them or have them in our life, but forgiveness is for you so that you're not holding on and harboring things because pent up energy like that will lead to stress. It can lead to dis-ease and your life being in shambles. So I appreciate it yesterday. And the chapter actually aligned with some things I had going on. And then I had an amazing day after reading that chapter. So I'm excited to see what she has to say today in chapter 10. So let's get right into it. Chapter 10 is entitled Do Right by Yourself. This is about to be a good word for somebody. It starts off with a quote by an author and playwright by the name of Pearl Cleage. I happened to be in one of I was in a play that Pearl Cleage wrote and actually got to meet her. Great experience. But the quote says, discomfort is always a necessary part of the process of enlightenment. Let me read that again. Discomfort is always a necessary part of the process of enlightenment. Pearl Cleage. She ain't wrong about that. All right, let's get into it. Do right by yourself. Sometimes the very thing that's necessary to have a most amazing day or life is the willingness to act quickly and decisively when something isn't right. This is especially true when it comes to our health. Honey, when are we going to stop waiting until we get sick before we decide we're going to take care of ourselves? We should not have to wait until we're sick before we decide, I want to live. We shouldn't have to wait until we've been diagnosed with diabetes, chronic heart disease, high blood pressure, all those different things before we decide, you know what? I want to eat right. I want to do better. I want to be better. Now is the time, baby. Let's take back control of our lives, y'all. Yes? To be clear, I was never someone you look at and say, she's unhealthy. I was very mindful of how I ate. I worked out 5 days a week, but apart from that, I didn't treat myself well. For a long time, my focus wasn't on being healthy. I was interested in looking a particular way. When you do things solely because you want to look a certain way, you don't really care about what you're doing to your body as long as you get that desired result. For me, I deprived myself as opposed to making better choices. Honey, I would take a diet pill or diet shot available if it meant I could fit into the dress I wanted to wear. I would starve myself for weeks or take laxatives and do all kind of cleanses to try to flush out my system quick before an audition. I would terrorize my insides, and honestly, I think this behavior was part of the reason I got sick. For 20 years, I did so much damage to my body. I deprived and overworked myself in order to feel good about how I looked, and at some point, my body must have said, no, ma'am, no more. I've lived with off and on chronic neck pain since I was a teenager from a car accident I had in high school. The story of how it all happened is actually somewhat funny, at least in hindsight. When I was 16, my aunt, we call her sister because she's my daddy's sister, was working at Fieldcrest Mills in Draper, North Carolina. She worked the third shift from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. and she called me at 7 one Saturday morning. I ain't got no ride, baby. Can you come get your auntie and take her home? She said. Yes, sister, I'll come on and get you. Mind you, I had one of those long t-shirt gowns and not a lick of underclothes. Hey, I was very carefree, and I'm still that way to this day. I just threw on my little sneakers and jumped into this little brown Nissan pickup truck my dad had given me to drive back and forth to my new job. Bree, Grand Rises, I'm about to upload chapter 9 from yesterday onto my YouTube. And if you're not already, subscribe to Morgan Myers on YouTube. And all the chapter 1s through 8 is up there, but I'll upload 9 and 10 today. So back to the story. Mind you, I had one of those long t-shirt gowns and not a lick of underclothes. Oh yeah, you is subscribe because you commented on there. All right, yeah, ignore me. Um, Tab sound like me with just t-shirt and no panties on. She said I had on one of those long t-shirt gowns. Oh, a moo the moo Tab. You had on a moo and not a lick of underclothes. Hey, I was very carefree, and I'm still that way to this day. I just threw on my little sneakers and jumped into the little brown Nissan pickup truck my dad had given me to drive back and forth to my new job. It was only about a 15-minute drive to Draper to pick her up, and once I got down there, I took her to her home in Reedsville, which was about 20 minutes there and 20 minutes back. This is where things go left. On my way back, I said to myself, you know what? I want me some wings for breakfast. This was way before I was vegan, honey. I was already on my street when I decided to go to KFC and go and get me some chicken. That was a back road. There was a back road nearby called Boat Landing where the boats would dock, and it was a shortcut that cars could take back to the main little highway. So I took Boat Landing to get my chicken and biscuits. Well, honey, that road had the deepest curve in it, and when I took it, there was another car coming head on. The car swerved to miss me, but his back end caught my front, which caused my truck to flip up onto a hill. Had I flipped down, I would have tumbled into the sewers, and baby, I can't swim, so it would have been a tragedy. My truck ended up stuck on a fence, upside down. Now, in my small town, everyone wore many hats, so my basketball coach was also a police officer. Coach Griffin showed up with the ambulance, and the paramedics had to use a sliding board to remove me from the truck and slide me down feet first onto the stretcher. But y'all remember, I didn't have on any underclothes on, right? Honestly, I flashed every single one of them as they got me out that car. Nevertheless, they finally stabilized my neck and spine with a brace and rushed me to the hospital. I'll never forget the look on my mama's face when she arrived in my hospital room. Didn't I tell you to never leave that house without putting no underclothes on? She said, well, Mama, I didn't know. I thought I was just going to take sister home. I just wanted some chicken. So that began the story on my neck. The injury stopped me from playing basketball, and I was in physical therapy and visiting chiropractors for at least 8 months or so afterward. For 20 plus years after that, I would wake up with terrible neck and back pain. Later in life, I found out I had disc dislodged in my spine and extreme deterioration because it was not treated properly in the beginning. I've been on a mission to self correct ever since. So I lived with the chronic pain of nerve and spinal damage for many years. The pain came and went. I'd wake up with a stiff neck that would last anywhere from a couple of days to a couple of weeks before it would right itself. So in 2016, when I woke up with pain in the back of my neck, I first thought, oh, I'm about to have one of my episodes. But then it started to spasm. This is different. Maybe it's just a muscle spasm or something. But that same pain started shooting into the back of my head. It rested there not for a day, a week, a month. That pain stayed in the back of my head for a year and 7 months. I saw it. I never saw it coming. One day things were going great. I had just come back from the Sundance Film Festival and things in my career were starting to move a little bit. I was doing stand-up comedy and having some fun. This time there were no signs. Nothing in my life indicated that I was about to be laid out in a way I'd never been before. So when it did hit, I did what many of us do. I went into a kind of denial. It would go away in a few days. It didn't occur to me to look at my past behavior, the way I treated myself and my body, as a possible source. I just thought this pain is worse than usual, but it'll get back to normal. It always does. Honestly, it absolutely did not. The pain pierced me every day. When it first hit, it took me completely out from work and everything else for 2 weeks. Then I thought I got it under control. I was able to manage the pain enough where I could drive and work again. But several months after returning to my 9 to 5, the chronic fatigue took over. Then I started having awful panic attacks at the job. I worked for 4 months in that pain before my body said no more. I just couldn't do it. When I got sick, Choice was 14 and our son Queston was 3. Quest doesn't really remember too much about that time. He only knows about it because he hears me tell the stories. So I really thought I was doing a great job of hiding it, but Choice saw right through me. I would get up in the morning and take her to school and Quest to daycare. This was before I went out on full disability, so I was still working. I sometimes have to take a week or two off, but then would muster up what little energy I could get back. But I wasn't fooling my baby girl. She would say, Mommy, are you okay? And I say, yeah, girl, Mommy is just a little tired. But she knew something wasn't right. For a long time, I'd even tried to hide it from Chance. And it wasn't until one time when I went to the bathroom in the middle of the night and had a severe episode that he knew something was really wrong. I got really hot and flustered, and then all of a sudden, very cold and drenching wet. Then my legs just collapsed under me. I could not walk. I fell to the floor and sat there for a while trying to figure out if I could pull myself up so he wouldn't know. Eventually, I had screamed for him to come pick me up and put me back in bed. Even then, though, I didn't want him to worry. Instead of asking for help, I did what so many mothers do. I was overly concerned about everyone else. My husband has a very stressful job. I don't want to worry him. The last thing they need to be concerned about is me being sick. If I'm honest, a part of me was very worried about having ALS like my mom. Sometimes we believe because it happened to our parents, it's going to happen to us, and because my symptoms were similar, the thought sent my mind spiraling. Your mind is a very powerful thing, honey. It can convince you that you have something that you don't have. It will have you thinking death is around the corner or down the street. For me, I was afraid my husband would struggle the way my stepdad did and get angry at me for being sick. So I tried very hard to hide it until that night when I couldn't anymore. I thank God for that moment now. It was getting very tough to pretend to be okay at home. I was still pretending on social media, trying to post pictures that made it look like I was all right. I would even try to work out and hike, something that to this day is like therapy for me. On the days I could muster up the strength, then post pictures of that. My brother Nick would help me, even though sometimes I would fall down the hills because my legs would give out. Mm. We simply cry together out there and never tell anybody. He would help me get up there because he knew how bad I wanted to try to push through it. But when I finally decided to come clean, my family was supportive. Maybe they too were glad to not have to pretend like they didn't know something was wrong. Maybe we were all relieved. I went back and forth to the doctor, but there were never any answers. The doctors couldn't tell me anything. That's when the depression set in because I felt helpless. I knew something was going on with my body. I was feeling sick. But when the doctors ran the blood tests, the MRIs, the CAT scans, everything came back normal. We're sorry, ma'am. We're sorry. We can't tell you what it is. But this isn't normal. This isn't my normal feeling. That depression took over, honey, and it got real heavy. But there I was trying to act normal for my family and friends. I was caught off guard by this awful thing, and instead of dealing with myself, I kept trying to be what others needed me to be. It was exhausting. I know that it worried and stressed my husband because at times he would just shut down a bit and get very quiet. That's how he handles things sometimes. And that, of course, would worry me because I would be so worried about him not being able to focus at work. But still, we would come together and pray. Oh, that's beautiful. Couples that pray together, stay together. I also started to see Choice grow up a little bit faster than I wanted her to because she was so concerned about her mommy. On the days when I couldn't move my arms or legs, she would help me get dressed. She'd put my shirts on me when I was just too exhausted. The good in all that was that I learned just how much I was loved. It was eye opening to know that I had raised a child who wanted to help me and love me unconditionally the same way that I loved my mama. I knew that with Chance, the very thought of anything happening to me was taking his breath away. It was causing him to almost lose his mind because he did not want anything to happen to his wife. So, despite it all, I'm grateful to know that I'm loved so deeply we got through it. Yes, I'm grateful for the vegan challenge, setting me on the path that turned everything around for me physically. For those that don't know, Tabitha Brown, her daughter Choice came home from school one day after watching a documentary called "What the Health," and and this is around the time her mom was having all these health issues that couldn't be explained. And so after Tab saw that, her and her family took a 30-day vegan challenge together. And after the 30 days, Tab decided to stay on the vegan train. And so that's um, the lady that we've come to learn and know about. It came from her being sick, her daughter telling her about this documentary, them taking a 30-day vegan challenge as a family, and then Tab continuing that challenge beyond the 30 days and remaining vegan. Because all her symptoms cleared up, all the sickness that she had that she's describing now. But she explains that earlier in the book, so I was just reiterating that for those of you who maybe not have caught up. We're in chapter 10. All right, so but where we at? Yes, I'm grateful for the vegan challenge setting me on the path that turned everything around for me physically. But I'm even more grateful for the lessons I learned from that season of my life about taking care of myself in every way. Lessons I now have the privilege of sharing with you. Sometimes in life circumstances will hit you and you will be woefully unprepared to deal with them. I didn't know that sickness was coming, but I also wasn't prepared for it. When I say don't wait until you get sick to take care of yourself, that's exactly what I mean. Don't okay, wait a minute. But when I say don't wait until you get sick to take care of yourself, that's exactly what I mean. Prepare yourself by being the best version of yourself today, baby. Instead of doing all kind of terrible things to your body in order to look the way I thought I needed to, I could have just accepted me for me. I could have worked out for a stronger heart and healthy lungs and strong muscles and not just to fit into a pair of jeans. I could have really taken time to make sure I was okay physically and mentally by putting myself first because I deserve that, and so do you. What I be saying? Did you wake up stressed, drink water, go over your goals and affirmations, pray and meditate, moisturize before you get online, get in your car, go to work? If not, Take 5 minutes for yourself, self-care, self-love, because you got to put yourself first. You can't put everybody chat. And I'm telling y'all from experience, I be burnt out shoddy over here trying to put everybody else first, put the internet first, put my posts first, put my business first. No. If Mo don't wake up and get her together, it ain't gonna go good for y'all. Trust and believe. It just don't. It seems like though everything be out of alignment. When I do that, I be rushing, I be forgetting things, I be a little agitated. So that soulless time is very important. All right. She said, I could have really taken the time to make sure I was okay physically, mentally by putting myself first because I deserve that and so do you. But you know what, honey? It's not just about your health. That's my story, but it might not be yours. I've met people who say, oh, I would love to travel, but they never go anywhere. Even if they could afford it, they do what I talked about in a previous chapter. They talk themselves out of it. So in life, period. Let's not wait until we can't do something to wish that we had. I bet a lot of y'all wanted to travel before COVID, and then COVID hit you like, bam. That was one of the things we was unprepared for in life. So now that the world's opening back up a little bit, maybe consider saving your coins and looking into traveling if that's something you want to do. They talk themselves out of it. So in life, period, let's not wait until we can't do something that we wish we had, whether it's eating better, taking a trip, or making up with the loved one. Now is as good a time as any to make it happen. Life is too short, but life is also long enough if we live it right. And that is the end of chapter 10. Thank y'all so much for tuning in to Feet in the Soul, because that's my business by Tabitha Brown. If you're not already subscribed, if you're not already subscribed to my YouTube channel, it's my name, Morgan Myers, MorganMyers. You'll see the red logo with the yellow M inside for more of my, and I have up to chapter 8 uploaded on there. I read chapter 9 yesterday, and I'm going to upload that in chapter 10. So, yeah, I appreciate y'all for tuning in. I got some new books coming y'all way, so stay tuned. And I hope y'all have a lovely day. And again, if you have not taken the time to self-care, to drink your live water, your live alkaline water that is from Black-owned land out here in North Carolina, Black-owned bottling company. We ship across the world, and we deliver if you're in North Carolina or Atlanta, because we'll be there a lot. So, yeah, make sure you check in with yourself for today and be kind to yourself today. And try to share that light and love with somebody else today, because I love me some good customer service, or just a quick wave or a quick head nod at somebody in the street that look like me. So let's share our love and energy today, but also preserve your energy and look out for you, because you matter. All right, I love y'all. Y'all be easy out there, and I'll tune in with y'all again soon. Peace.